What's going on? Welcome to the Lethal Truth, where the truth will set you free. And I'm talking about mentally, sometimes physically, depending on your situation. I hope everybody having a good day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Lethal Truth, where you're going to hear the truth, nothing but the truth, and only the truth. With that, hold on now. Hold on. Let me start gearing up here. All right. All right, so we're gonna give it like a minute or two for people to start tuning in. So we're gonna beat around the bush for a second. How was your day? I hope your day was all good. I hope I had a good day. My grandson was born today. Yes, I'm a grandfather again. See, when people try to write me off, look, God bless me again. That's how I was always gonna go. As long as you're doing the right thing in life and you're doing what you're supposed to do. I mean, we're not perfect, but God knows what's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? And anything that go good, that's in your heart, God will always give you blessings. I mean, you can't have everything your way. The Holy Quran says, you know, after after struggles comes ease. You know what I'm saying? So when you're struggling for success, you always gonna struggle. You know what I mean? Until you succeed. And once you succeed, guess what? You ain't gonna be satisfied with that. You're gonna want to do better. It's gonna be another struggle. I think the only time we stop struggling is when we decease. Don't you agree? But hit that like button. Shout it out, boss lady. Thank you. Thank you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. We got a good show today, right? We got a good show today. Oh man, but like I said, I'm gonna give it, matter of fact, one more minute, and then we're gonna dive into this Diddy case. I know I've been hitting y'all with the Diddy case for the past three shows. It's very important. I'm really trying to touch on some other topics. I went through a technical difficulty yesterday. I want to talk about Ibrahim Tute. People are really trying to distract us from an African and a Black American revolution and a Black revolution all throughout the world. They trying to deter y'all from really paying attention to it. But we're going to get into it. I think I'm going to have to do 2 shows a day to start getting into something important, because I don't want people being distracted with this stuff with Diddy because everybody thinking it's big news. Don't get me wrong. It is the second hottest trial in history ever. The first one was OJ, because his trial was on national TV 7 days a week. We talking about on Sunday, they was in trial. I don't know who does that, but OJ was in trial, you know what I'm saying? And he beat that. Even here for the knowledge. I ain't see you in a minute. Where you been at? Tell a friend to tune in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's get right into it, right? We're going to get right into it. So last week, I touched upon the cross-examination and a direct examination when it deals with Cassie being on the stand. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Cassie did a hell of a job. She really, she stuck it to part. I'm gonna say she didn't lie. I know I was talking about the rape situation. I'm not gonna say she lying. I'm gonna say, because females do get raped and they do, get back with the person they love. I think sometimes all men have somewhat raped a female, when she be like, stop, and you still doing it, you're not listening to the stop, and you still doing it mentally and technically, that's rape. And even if she give it to you, it takes an amount of time to start feeling you and getting aroused and getting wet, and she go, you know what, go ahead, do it, because you're already in. But technically, she not saying nothing, but that's rape. A lot of us done committed that and don't even realize it. Some of us didn't realize it because we was young. Some of us do realize it at a mature age, especially my age. I'm 50. Even if I do that to a female and she say no, but later on allow me to do it, in my mind, heart, and soul and body, I know I raped that female. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that she was lying. I'm gonna say that she just got her dates wrong. I think she was confused. I think, maybe Puffy did rape her that night, and, she enjoyed it and she still loved him and hit him with the emoji the next morning. That happens. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna deter that. But like I said, I think she's the only one that actually touched the stand that didn't really lie. Like they couldn't trip her up in none of her testimonies. Don't get me wrong. In the beginning, she said she was down with it. She was cool with it. She was ready to roll. She wanted the freakos. She was calling the escorts, lining them up, which one she wanted for herself. You know what I'm saying? And she was part of the game. But I think what happens is, you know, drawn through the abuse, the drug selling. Hey, Monica, what's up? What's up, Monica? Drawn the drug abuse, you know, the physical abuse, the mentally abuse. I think after a while she got tired of it because, you know, it was so much abuse. And two, I think she got tired of it also because Diddy was going overboard. Like, you know, I mean, you got to remember they on drugs every day. They on ecstasy. They on Molly's. They on what I found, GHB. I found out finding what that is. That's liquid ecstasy, which today they actually call it a date rape drug. So what kind of mindset are you in if both of y'all are so high? Are you think they making sound decisions? And those drugs play off your emotions. So if you're not feeling a way, if your man bother you or your woman bother you and they rub you a certain way, you're going to go from 0 to 100. See, you have to actually have to utilize those drugs and be in that situation to understand where they're coming from in their relationship. Stop letting the prosecution team with their white media against the black man trying to paint him like he bad, and y'all only give chop suey transcripts out in the media for people to read. Because like I said, the prosecution team is there to attack Diddy. They're not friends. So their whole job is to paint him to look like the Incredible Hulk monster bigger than Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? So when they get up there, all you're going to hear about is abuse, 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 abuse. They drown that out and pound out in our heads along with that tape because they want to make the jury bias, and they want to make you females who've been through this sort of situation biased. And I see it. I read it I read it on Facebook. I read it on TikTok. The first thing I say, he's a monster. He need to go jail forever. Forever for a DV? Because the testimony that Cassie gave, she didn't talk about nobody pimped her out to another man and the dude paid Puffy, and that's sex trafficking. That's prostitution. We haven't heard nothing from that from Cassie. All we heard from Cassie was saying was he whipped my behind. He turned me out on drugs. That I believe, because, you know, when you're already affiliated with drugs and you get with a young person or you get with anybody of a certain age bracket that haven't indulged in those type of drugs, especially hard drugs, if they're dealing with you, 9 out of 10, they're going to try you. You know why? Because they feel comfortable with you and they think that you got their best interests at heart and they feel safe with you. So they're listening to you when you say, yo, don't take all of this, take a little bit of this. Yo, I've been doing this for years. And they trust you because they see you doing it, you're alive, and now you popping it and you feeling good. The ecstasy got you feeling good. You know what I'm saying? And then you continue to do it every day because it got you feeling good. Now, I wanna, before I get into that, you know, with Cassie, right? I'm gonna touch up on her a little bit, but I want to go to Don Rashard's testimony. Oh man, yo, let me tell you something. Puffy has the illest defense team on, well, I won't say on this planet, but in this country. Let me tell you something. Money, yo, man, money pulls the best out of people. Yo, I don't know where he got all these lawyers from. I know some from Young Thug, some is from Cochran Branch. You know, yo, he got one from Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Legal team. I believe one of the females that's on this legal team was the father that was actually in the Young Thug trial as well. Yo, they call them the Dream Team. This is what the courts in them is calling people that's in the courts. This is what they're calling Puffy team right now. The Dream Team. Because when you get on the stand, you better know what you're talking about. Because they are not playing. They are wiping the floor with witnesses like I have not ever seen. Let me tell you something. All my information that I get to you on based on this trial is not the information that you get on blogs and well, I won't say blogs because I do get it from here and there. But what I do is I get it from people that is in the courthouse. That's actually, if they not in the courtroom, they on the leftover, excuse me, they're on the holdover floor where they're looking at it. They're bunch around all the top-notch media news reporters, and they're watching this on the screen, and they writing this down, shorthand, the transcripts. This is how I get the transcripts. Not that crap that people be doing, and they post this little skit that they get from some other media outlet, and they save it to their phone and they post it in these groups and they let everybody have their word. And most of them is all AI generated. You don't even know what's real. This, like I told you, I said, yo, we saying all of this about Puff, about sex parties, right? About him being with other men. You had dudes for making a band say, yo, he was with this man, he was with that man. Y'all trying to put Jay-Z and other men with him in a sexual, even these dumb rappers out there that solidified calling themselves been in the pen and been in the system and know how police move up there, jumping up what media says, and now they up there talking about no Diddy. You heard Cassie testify saying that when they called the freak off, that they said, yo, she was in there with a party. No, as a matter of fact, they asked Cassie, understand, what do you consider freak-offs? What is freak-offs to you and Puffy when y'all have it? This was her testimony. Freak-offs consist of me, Diddy, and an escort. She ain't say no party. She ain't say no other. Even when she said they hired the dudes to come, the escorts, and they put baby oil on the men and all that, and they come in, all you hear them say out of Cassie mouth is that me and the escorts are freak off. And then later on, I would come to Puff, or Puff would be there watching us freak off, and he would masturbate. Or Puff would join us. You never heard her saying Puff squeeze his nipples or his butt cheek. That's y'all out there saying that, man. Why y'all out there lying? That's why I say everything that happens, which y'all see on social media, it's not going to be in the courtroom. That's why his prosecution team wasn't saying nothing to the media. The defense team wasn't saying nothing to the media because y'all would twist the whole goddamn thing up and y'all will poison the jury. That's why right now the jury is like, wait a minute, I ain't hear all this stuff that was going on that I was reading. Wait a minute, this is all different. So they went in there with a clear mind and they removed all that bull crap that they've been hearing about or reading on social media. Here for the knowledge, that's definitely not a freak off or a party they was referring to. Exactly. It's not a freak off. I just did a flyer for a party called a freak off. You know what that consists of? That was consist of multiple people along with couples who's coming in either to sexually have fun with consent, or they just coming to chill and just watch. That's a freak off party. Or Diddy could have it, call it his own freak off party, but it's just them because they was doing this for days on end. And some of y'all say, oh, nah, you crazy? 4 days is too long. That's because you never tried E. O'Malley before. If you tried E. O'Malley before all day, let me tell you something. First of all, that thing keep you up. We really heard about this in the hood from college graduates because they used to utilize that, or probably still do in college, because it keeps them up all night. So after partying and they got a test to do, or they got to finish an essay, they come straight from the party and they get busy and they up all night and they still popping, playing music, and they going in and they're in a zone. They're in a zone. And sometimes they be up for 2-3 days without sex. They just got a mission. So if you never tried this, stop talking about, yo, that's bad, man, 3-4 days. How they doing that in a room? That's because you ain't under the influence. You wouldn't know. Uninspired fashion. Peace. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. So let's get into it, right? We're going to really get into it. Now I can begin. All right. before I get into it, I want to say, I want to give you a definition of abuse. Wally, what's going on? What's going on? Question is, orgies a crime? Not at all. Orgies are all anything that's dealing with consent when it comes to a party or a swinger party or a freak off, it has to deal with consent and boundaries. What's the consent? Yo, you want to come to this party? What's the party about? Yo, you could do this, you could do that. Trust me, they got to let people know head on, because what happens is, if they don't, you just wasting your time, because if the person coming in, they don't like it, you just wasted all this time bringing the person there, doing all this and doing that. So you let them know from ahead of time. Then they go, what? Yo, so you saying this going, oh, I want to see that. There go the consent right there. Now you going to the party. Everybody knows when they go into these type of parties what it's about. It's not no hiding. It's rules and boundaries. Boundaries and rules. You cannot have those two before you enter that party, because the consent comes first. Yo, I'm going to that party. Then your mind, you start making boundaries. Yo, I don't want nobody touch my ass. I don't want nobody touch my nipples. I don't want nobody doing this. You get where I'm coming from? Okay. That's why I say, man, they lying. You have to get and hear these transcripts. So I got some for you. You got to go into my other two shows when I'm reading off the cross-examination from the prosecution team and the defense team on both of my last two shows. This way, you can get your own understanding on how this trial is going. And like I said, Puffy got a dream team, man. He got a dream team. He's not playing. Now I see why he took the $60,000, the 60 million point something dollar house or mansion off the market, because his lawyer said, you bugging, you don't need no bail. Get out of here. We good. Don't worry about it. You're going to beat this. And they start removing things. You see anybody else get a settlement? I rest my case. But now let's get into this, right? So what is greed? What is greed? I know some people say, yeah, greed is when you want something, you thirsty, and you just go, I want to give you a clear definition of what greed is. And then we're going to go into the Cassie thing just a little bit. And then we're going to go into Dawn Rashard's cross-examination and direct examination. Brother, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the new website, Flip, but they pay you for your content. I just made an account yesterday. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to check it out. Now, I never heard of it. Thank you very much. So what is greed? In its fullest meaning, it's an excessive and selfish desire for more of something, particularly wealth or possessions that one genuinely needs or deserves. It involves a craving for what others possess and the relentless pursuit of more, often at the expense of others and sometimes even one's own being. Because I want you to understand where Cassie mindset is. We're talking about greed. I want you to understand where this is going. Because everybody wants to say, a lot of women, and some men, that Cassie's a victim. Yes, she's a victim. Is Sean Combs a victim? Is Michael B. Jordan a victim? Is Ryan Leslie a victim? Is Kid Cudi a victim? Because these are all the men she cheated with while with Puffy. These are all the men she cheated with, besides Ryan Leslie, that she had free course with, that she testified on the oath while with Puffy. So is she a victim? What she was telling them? Was she lying? Was she being honest? It's a question. Put in the comments. 2, selfishness. The motivation behind greed is a desire to accumulate and keep possession for oneself without regard for the needs or well-being of others. So you could be in a relationship, ladies, and you see a multi-billionaire come into the room and he got eyes on you, and you struggling with a dude that don't even have 100,000, and you know this dude is open off you. What you gonna be thinking? Especially if you're a singer, you trying to break into the industry. You're gonna get rid of Joe Blow. He don't got a yacht. He don't got a mansion. He don't have millions. But this dude over here, dude, you thinking for yourself. Focus on wealth and possessions. While greed can be directed at other things like power or fame, it mostly commonly associated with accumulation of material wealth. We get into something because we got all these lawsuits. That's where it's going. Disordered desire. Greed is also considered a vice or flaw. A vice. I mean, someone is addicted to this now, as it leads to actions that are harmful or unfair to others. So in other words, when you got this greed coming along, you don't care who you hurt in the process, as long as you get what you want to get. Forget everybody else. You can scream victim later on because your greed backfired on you with karma, but yet you play the victim, but you ain't really thinking about all the people you hurt in the back trying to get to your success. Potential for harm. The pursuit of greed can lead to a mythical or even illegal behavior as people try to obtain more for themselves. Now, that was just the dictionary. I'm not saying Webster, but I'm just saying the dictionary. Hit that like button. Yes, please hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. But we don't even get into a spiritual, because I know a lot of these women that's really against Diddy on this case, and some men. I have to say some men because you got some men that's going hard. A lot of y'all are Christians. A lot of y'all always say God don't like ugly and karma and all this. But look what the Bible says. In the Bible, greed is defined as a selfish and excessive desire for more of something, particularly wealth or possession, than what is actually needed. So you're not even comfortable with what you got. I hear dudes say, yo, man, I'm twisted, man. I'm messed up. I'm broke. I ain't got nothing. You got your name on a lease. You got an apartment. You still got food in your refrigerator. You got a car. You might ain't got no money, but you got a lot of possessions. You see, it's not enough. Now, it's seen as a sin stemming from a lack of contentment and trust in God's provision. The Bible warns against the pursuit of greed, as it can lead to ruin and destruction. So here's Cassie, right? 19 years old. I was 19. Wally, we was 19. We knew what the hell we was doing. As a matter of fact, I was up north at 19. So don't tell me at 19 you're innocent. You don't know what you're trying to do. They trying to do that with the white dude in South Carolina that shot up the people in the church, the black people, the racist white boy. They trying to get him off the death penalty, talking about because when he was 19, his mind wasn't mature yet. Get the hell out of here. This dude was running around with an assault rifle. What you talking about? She knew exactly what she was doing. See, came as a model and a promising singer, and she tried to benefit off of Ryan Leslie because Ryan Leslie had a hit. They was knowing his name, and she figured since nobody knew her, she wasn't in the game. She was aspiring to be a model, not a successful model. She was trying, but it couldn't make it. So she found Ryan Leslie. Of course, she can sing. I'm sure she tried to sing for him. He said, yeah. He was just trying to get what he was trying to get because he's 10 years younger. So he got a little young girl. So he's plotting on her and she plotting on him. See where the greed is at? Because his greed is dealing with lust. So they start messing around while she's 19. At 21, she runs in the pub. Come to his party. I guess she must have met him somewhere else and he got her number. You know how that go, because I don't know how he just popped up there. He had information. So I'm sure he came there to impress her. So he came with Madonna. No, was it Madonna? I think it was Madonna and Justin Bieber. It was two celebrities. I said it in my last show. I can't remember. But he came with two celebrities. So of course, no, Britney Spears was one of them. Excuse me. Britney Spears was one of them. So I know when they went to her high school graduation, she was open. Everybody was looking at her like, girl, you got Diddy in the house? You got Madonna? Oh, girl, you getting put on. And she saw this as a perfect opportunity to get in. So of course, Puffy, he laid his game down because like little young girl, I'm a molder, which is true. You know, he could get off on her. But she was thinking of something too. I could get put on. And I'm sure, you know, that night after they kissed, because he did kiss her on the lips while she's in a relationship with Ryan Leslie. Ryan Leslie, you see where the greed is coming at? Because she already got it plot. I'm getting rid of this nigga. And I'm going to get with this dude. And he got his own label. I remember Biggie growing up to all of that. Oh, I'm about to get put on. I'm about to suck him off something serious. This is what's going on in her mind. Because this is her meal ticket to go from point A to point Z, not B. She trying to yeah, because she jumped from a up and coming promising singer to a whole powerhouse CEO. You see what I'm saying? So she used Puff and Puff used her, and the ruins and the destruction came because now they're on drugs, they're having freak offs, they're fighting. They calling each other. They're jealous of each other. She jealous with him being with other women. He jealous of her being with other men. That's a relationship. That don't sound like sex trafficking to me. That don't sound like a RICO charge to me. That don't sound like him forcing her to do drugs. So we gonna get into that too. But let's fast forward. Your reputation gets you female suit. Exactly. Your reputation gets you female suit. I was growing up, you had some dusty dudes. And they had one of the baddest females in the hood. I'm like, how? He gets busy. His name ring bells. Everybody's around him. She sees a superstar. So imagine Puffy pulling up in a Rolls Royce or Lex or the Maybach and he jump out. They're in the house. He got his security. They opening the doors. Cameras is flying. And she's like, oh my God. She open. And she like, I'm giving it to him on the first day or the next day or the next week. You know how I know? Because of us dudes, if certain celebrities like Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, whatever they're called, all these female celebrities at Top Notch, Zoe Salanda, if they came and say, yo, listen, I like how you looking tonight. Why don't we just go out to dinner and after that, no strings attached. You come to my room and then you go your way. What? Where? What time you want me to meet you? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a fantasy. But what I think was her and Puff didn't imagine falling in love. That was the catch. And that happens because when you always spending time with someone, eventually the conversation starts. Eventually, you're going to start telling each other your personal feelings and what's going on with y'all, your needs and your wants, or what's stressing out, and your whole family history. So you're going to grow a bond. You see what I'm saying? You don't do that with people who use sex traffic. You just do what you do and they keep going. There's no record deal. There's no signing deal. You're not doing songs with Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, songs she did with people before she even had a hit. Can't tell me your man wasn't looking out for you because you don't get mega hits with those mega songs with those people that does mega hits and you ain't even got an album out yet. Hell no. You know somebody. You know Diddy. Now, so that was the cross-examiner with her last week with Cassie. Like I said, she did a hell of a good job. You know what I'm saying? Of painting Diddy as a womanizer, as an abuser. And like I said, if he was charged for assault, he was charged for rape, he was charged for domestic violence, you don't need no witnesses. Her testimonies alone would have wrapped him up. As a matter of fact, that video alone would have wrapped him up. But he ain't charged for that. See why I say the dream team? Now look, Don Rashard, I keep calling Riches for some apparent reason. Dawn Rashard, she was down with Danity Kane, and later on, she was down. Where's everybody else? I don't know, man. We was young on the hooky parties. Yeah, we were doing the hooky parties too. Yeah, I remember at that age. And we was doing gangbangs. You know what I'm saying? At that age. You know what I mean? So you can't tell me she was 19, she didn't know no better, and she was immature. And man, don't get me wrong. He did manipulate certain things, because he's older and more experienced. And he had what she wanted and he knew what she wanted. So she put the carrot in front of her. But she had a plan too. And that's why the Bible said, be careful because he become in ruin and destruction. And look at her life. Now she don't got no career. Granted, she got 30 million, but she don't even look the same in nobody's eyes. Even if they wanted to sign her, she will not sell because you can't even take her serious after everything she did. She can't even get a deal because look who she told on. She told on one of the top 10 powerful individuals in the industry. You ain't going nowhere, mama. You better let those millions rock out. Sad she ain't got no prenup. You think homeboy waiting. Yeah, and I believe he pushed that. I believe he pushed that lawsuit because it didn't get pushed until she actually started to become homeless and she had to move in with her mother and her father with her husband while she was already pregnant. So she had no choice to say, you know what, it's time for me to go for the bag. Especially, I'm sure she probably called him like, yo, I need help. And he was like, what? F you. I get out of here. You married. You moved on. What you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? So let's get to Dawn Richardson. Like Rashid, like I said, she was down with Danny Kane. And she, after Danny Kane, she got with a group called Dirty Money, which was another female, I believe, and Diddy, right? That didn't work out. I heard she was on one of those reality shows with Diddy, and she was barking on him. And with that other female, old Horbury, the white girl. Oh, let me say something too about that. Stop letting that white female gash y'all out there on social media thinking she gonna take the stand against Diddy. No, she's not called the witness. She's not even a reliable witness. She just came out to New York City and posted, y'all know what I'm in New York City for, and everybody assumed that she was going to testify for Diddy. She was just wanted some attention to have somebody call her up to have her on a show so she could get paid. Pay that no mind. Pay that no mind. She's not a witness. She is not a witness. So now, when Dawn Rashid is called to testify because she has a lawsuit in against Puff, she's on a freak off. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? She didn't take the stand. She didn't say, Cassie didn't say she was part of the freak off. Dawn didn't say she was part of the freak off. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say that female was part of the freak off, despite, you know, she's white or whatever, black. You know, I look, I'm like Cat Williams. Look, I'm sorry, white females. I gotta watch y'all when y'all around me. I'm just saying. Hey, man, so I'm pretty sure Puff was on his P's and Q's. We already see what's been happening in the media with black men and white women, so he's not gonna set himself up like that. You know what I mean? But she had a lot to say. But hit that like button. Please hit that like button. You just got in the room. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button. And please tell a friend, because that's all I do is I talk the truth. You know? So as Dawn Rashid was called to the witness stand by the prosecutors, the defense jumped up and said, I object. I'm going to get into the transcripts in a minute. It said, I object. The reason they objected to, and the judge had called them to the front of their desk, they was going back and forth, was the fact that Puffy's team didn't want hearsay into the record. They wanted to object to her testimony. They felt she wasn't credible because everything she said, Cassie didn't say. Everything she told the prosecutors, everything she told in civil court, whatever she saw with Cassie did not collaborate anything she said when she was on the stand, because Cassie is the star witness. You're not. So they felt like you up here only going to tell about domestic violence. Some you already spoke about last week because you know she took the stand, but she was up there for 5 minutes. But they called her again for re-examination because Puff team, the dream team, had a dream for her. They had a dream for her. So they called her back, but they still objected first just to see before they waste their time and say, yo, let's get her striked off the record. It's just hearsay. Nobody could confirm her story. Nobody that took the stand actually confirmed anything she said, right? Remember, greed. Now she has a lawsuit in against Puff. So let's get to it. Okay. And also Mark what's it? Agafilo, he's Italian. Heavy hitter. He's the number one, he's the number one defense attorney for Puff. He's like, yo, I don't even see how this is how what does this have to do with racketeering? You're getting ready to talk about what you said last week, that you saw Puff come with a frying pan and hit her or tried to hit Cassie. This is all she got to talk about. This is her whole argument here about Cassie. So they're like, what does this have to do with racketeering? What does this have to do with sex trafficking? And Cassie didn't compliment anything she said. You see how like R. Kelly trial went? All the witnesses' story was similar. This girl here, and you know they prepare you before you get up there. This female here, she had a story that nobody can confirm. So let's get to it, right? The judge said we're gonna still hear her out. All right. So the prosecution team in 2004 and 2011, assaults predated Dirty Money from 2004 to 2009. Rashard said Puff threatened her. She received death threats about what he did to Cassie. Now, she said last week, like I said, on the stand, her testimony, she said that Puffy came downstairs. They was making breakfast. Puffy came downstairs. He was highly upset that people had breakfast, was making breakfast, and then he didn't have no breakfast. And he took a skillet and he had tried to hit Sassy in the head with it and missed, and Sassy fell to the ground and she dragged her and everything. He tried to pull her upstairs and then he hit her a few times and then he left her there. This was her testimony. This was her testimony. All right. Okay. So she said, one, he picked up a skillet of eggs and hit Cassie. Now she ain't hit Cassie. Missing and fear for my life. He sent numerous assaults. No, excuse me. Missing and fairly for my life. He also sent numerous assaults against Cassie. Another, he would punch Cassie in the face, head, and arms. This was during that incident, right? Another time, she seen Cassie get beat up so bad, she had to wear shades. This is everything she's saying. This before we get to the transcript. So her, Cassie, and two others from Danity Kane wore shades with Cassie to support Cassie. Notice you ain't hear Cassie say anything about that incident, right? They was in West Hollywood one day. She said Puff punched Cassie in the stomach. The prosecution team said, anybody intervene? She says no. Mind you, they have security around. Mind you, everywhere they went as a trio, they're outside and people is around. She said nobody intervened. Nobody said nothing. They stood there and they watched it. Right? Okay. Another time in the BMW sprint event, her, Cassie, Puff, and other employees, her and Puff started arguing. Talking about him and Cassie. And Puff punched Cassie in the mouth and told her to shut the fuck up. Security did nothing, she said. D-Rock is the head of security. He didn't do nothing. His assistant that go follow him everywhere, he didn't do nothing. And there's a CEO of Bad Boy named Chris Avine. He did nothing, right? They all watched this. So these are all witnesses. These are all witnesses to this account. But nobody's saying what she's saying. Okay. The prosecution team. Did you speak to Cassie about her career and her relationship at Bad Boy? Dawn. Yes. Cassie used to tell me she wanted more career opportunities. She had high goals. Then she would say, he would say, wait your turn. It's on my time frame. I own you. I said you should leave Puffy. You should leave Bad Boy. Cassie looked torn and afraid to me. This is what she says. The prosecution team. See, this is what I do. I like to read what the prosecution team say. Then I want you to listen to what the defense team say. Matter of fact, we're going to just call them the dream team, right? Prosecution team. Have you ever saw Puff using drugs? Dawn. Yes. I saw him using X, Molly, cocaine, and ketamine. Prosecution team. Where you saw him using these drugs at? Dawn. At the studio or at the house. Prosecution team. Have you ever seen Puff use opioids? Dawn said no. But Cassie said, me and Sean always use opioids and medicine. She said no. Okay. Meanwhile, Puff is high every day. But okay, granted, maybe she never saw him use. Maybe she just saw him use other drugs. We're giving her benefit of doubt. Because now we're talking about the drugs. So since they were saying drugs was all involved and he was moving drugs and buying drugs and all that, we're talking about the drugs and what she saw. Prosecution team. Where do Puffy get these drugs? Dawn. A guy named One Stop. One Stop is a drug dealer for Puff. He buys everything from this dude, right? This is what is being said in court. This is what is on paperwork from people's testimony, from her and other people saying, yeah, he buy from this dude, he get everything, right? Okay. She said Puff buy all his drugs and keep his money and drugs in a Louis Vuitton pouch. Either Puff or his assistant will keep and carry this pouch. Prosecution team. Where do Puff keep the guns? Dawn. I saw Puff with a gun in the studio around 2009 or 10. I saw him in a club with a gun. His assistant and D-Rock keep guns. They keep it at the small of their backs. I don't know what the hell this all got to do with these charges, but we listening. This is Dawn. And she's up, and from what I heard, she's up there confident. She's like, yeah, and she's looking at Puff. You know, she letting him know, like, yeah, I'm giving it to you, right? Right? This is the what I'm getting from the people that's actually in the courthouse, that's actually taking notes to help us understand this, which I get from them so you can understand this, right? Okay. Okay, she said keep the small of your back. Dawn, I left Bad Boy at or around 2011. 2011, she left. Dawn, yes. He was trying to contact me or have his assistant do it, especially when my name started gaining momentum after leaving Bad Boy, because after she left Bad Boy, she released 100 songs. I never knew this. Like, who the hell knows any of her songs? You dropped 100 and nobody really know of you. The only time we know of you is when you was on Danity Kane or you were going through this with Puffy. But you released 100 songs? God damn. I tell you, some people just don't get it. Even though you can sing a rap, you just ain't got it. Fans just don't want to hear it. You may feel you nice and you sing, but yo, if you can't make a good song, I don't care how nice you is. Like Cannabis, he could rap all day, but he can't make a good song. Nelly, he raps bubblegum rap, but he knows how to make a good song. That's why he's successful. Y'all follow me? Let's get right back into it. All right, Dawn. Okay, no. The prosecution team. Why didn't you tell nobody about all what you saw? Dawn. I was told don't say nothing about Puff or Harv Pierre, who's the CEO. Excuse me, I said Chris. Harv Pierre, who is the CEO of Bad Boy. Because, you know, I guess Puff, like, I got too much stuff going on. You be the CEO. I know I'm the founder. I got other things going on. You run the company. The prosecution team. In 2024, what changed? Dawn. I saw Cassie take the stand and tell the truth. The judge automatically said strike that from the record. Strike that from the record. So in other words, she said the only time I decided to say something and do something about this is because when I saw Cassie on the stand. Or is it because you heard her got 20 million from that lawsuit and you know she was going to take the stand and you thought you could piggyback and get some money? Remember, I'm talking about greed. She went through all of this for Puff, seeing all of this. She didn't make no complaint as far as a police report. She didn't do no lawsuit. She didn't do anything because she figured I ain't gonna win because I have nothing to really tell. But I could follow Cassie because Cassie knew I was around. I just want you to think about all this, right? Put in the comments. Tell me what you think. Okay, now. What you don't know is Cassie found her civil suit the same day. Excuse me. Dawn Rashard filed her civil suit the same day as Cassie's. Like I said, right? She heard about it on the radio. She like, oh, shoot. And she said, I'm a file too. Because I know if Cassie gets something, I could piggyback off it. Because she don't really have nothing to file no police report on. She don't have anything. She could just go off what was going on with Cassie or what was going on around Cassie and jump on the bandwagon and make it look like she was being abused. This is how I see it. This is my personal opinion now. Because why would you wait all this time? Because I know if I'm signing a bad boy and you slap me, what? I mean, I get busy. But I'm on camera and I'm calling my lawyers. I ain't gonna put you in jail, but I'm gonna be compensated. I'm not gonna wait no 10 years. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna just hope you don't catch me. You know what I'm saying? If you got that type of pulling money like Diddy. Now it's cross-examination. Now we coming to the dream team. Listen to this. Y'all all right? Hit that like button. Hit that like button. It's about to get more juicy. Check this out, man. Yo, tell a friend because it's more tomorrow. I can't do all of it tonight. There's more witnesses. Oh, man, yo, this thing, man. Yo, free Diddy, man. I got to say it like that because when I'm reading it, it's not adding up. Check this out. Cross-examination. Pay attention. Puff female lawyer stands up now. Her name is Nicole Weathernet, right? They said she's a monster. She ain't nothing to play. This woman, she coming up, this white woman, right? Said, Ms. Rashard, do you know right now there is a motion to dismiss your case, your lawsuit against Puff? Dawn, oh, I'm not aware. The defense team, did you know your lawyer contacted Puff and demanded money? She thought we wasn't gonna find out. See, when she filed this suit, she never thought years later there was gonna be a case. She didn't know. So everything she said in the civil case, she gotta remember. Check this out. Dawn said, I'm not sure. The defense team, you met with prosecutors 8 times to talk about this case. How many times you met with the government about this case? She said a few times. Now she's starting to get a little shaky. A few times. Yeah, that was the word I got. Once that happened, she started getting smaller. A few times. She started talking real light now. The defense team, not a few. Hold on, not a few. You met with them 8 times. October 31st, 2004. March 18th, 2025, April 8th, 2025, April 9th, 2025, April 18th, 2025, and May 10th, 2025, which is like about a week or 2 weeks ago. So they was prepping you, and you was coming with all this hearsay. This is what I say, they wanted to strike her from the record. She's not a part of this. All she's doing is trying to help everybody paint Diddy as a bad person that has nothing to do with it. We already know he's a bad person. We knew that from the Shine incident. You ain't got to tell us that now. You know what I'm saying? You was just the fool that ignored the Shine incident and decided to still want to do business with him. Why? Greed. That's why. All right, look. Mr. Shaw, Mr. Shaw, this is defense team. Mr. Shaw, are you aware every time you told a story, it has changed every time? Dawn. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, it's coming. The defense, let me refresh your memory. This white woman say, oh, man, let me refresh your memory. Friday, on May 16, 2025, 3 days ago, on the stand, you said Puff attempted to hit Cassie in the head with a frying pan with eggs in it. When you spoke to federal prosecutors, you told them you heard a frying pan hit the wall, but you didn't see it. In your civil lawsuit, you said you saw Puff attempt to hit Cassie in the head with a frying pan. But when you met with prosecutors, you said you heard the frying pan hit the wall. Dawn, I'm not aware of what I told prosecutors. Now she ain't aware. The defense team, Mr. Shaw, are you aware that attempting to hit somebody with a frying pan and actually hitting them are two different things? You gave two different stories on that. What you told prosecutors. Puff actually hit Cassie with a frying pan October 31st, 2004. Then you met with them, Ms. Rashard, March 18th, 2025, and you told the feds Puff hit the frying pan. Now, Puff took the frying pan and threw the eggs at Cassie. So this is three different stories now. First you heard it, but you didn't see it. But then he attempted and didn't do it. But now you saying the frying pan hit the wall. So that's three different stories. A liar will never remember their lies. Yeah, goddamn right. Especially from 2000 and what? 2004 all the way to now. 2009 all the way to now. She don't remember. I don't even remember what I did last week. You know what I'm saying? Now here goes the defense team again. When you were meeting with the prosecutor, were we there? Any of Puffy lawyers were there? Puffy was there? Did you fear for your life? Did you feel safe? Because remember last week she said, after what I'd seen with Cassie with the frying pan, Puff told me don't discuss our relationship or where I come from, people like you in the missing. They asked her, how did you take that? She said, death. But now you're not afraid. You saying all of this. You're not afraid now. She said, yes. They wasn't there, right? Defense. Mr. Shaw, you know Puff didn't hit her with that frying pan at all, right? Dawn, I don't recall. Now she don't recall. Now she don't recall. Her body on the stand is looking so deflated because now she knows she caught up now. Because this is how they got Bill Cosby. Because they told Bill Cosby, I'm getting back to it. They told Bill Cosby, listen, whatever you admit in a civil court so you can settle out and it don't affect your case, we're not going to take your statements from your civil court and use it against you. But they lied. And that's why he got the reversal. So that's technically, you can do that. But by them saying we won't do it and they said it on record, they violated his constitutional right. And that's why he got released. Because he would have beat it. They didn't have nothing. So now with her, in her civil case, she have to remember everything she done lied about on Puff. And they got it in their hands. Look at this. Defense, you gave 4 different stories. Now this is 4. It's 4 different stories. Dawn, well, that's according to my recollection. Defense, well, according to your recollection, you have 4 different recollections of the frying pan. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. I hit that like button. That was you not to your recollection. Well, you got 4 different recollections. So the frying pan. You know what I'm saying? So on Friday, Mr. Shaw, you testified. Puff said you better not tell anyone about this case. People go missing. You met with the feds. Was I there? Puff there? His attorneys there? His security there? His assistant there? Dawn. No. So you're not under pressure while you saying all this. So why you stumbling? You lying? Why you got now 4 different stories? You see why the dream team said we want to strike her from the witness because it's hearsay. She's not credible. Everything she's saying, frying pan, you ain't hear Cassie say nothing about no frying pan. Only her. Right? Defense. October 31st, 2024. When you met with the feds, you told them nobody was hurt. You didn't tell the same story to the prosecutors. You never told the feds that people go missing. Yet she never told the feds after what happened to Cassie that Puffy said, if I say anything, I will go missing. Because now this will give grounds for the prosecution team to want to put her up in hiding because they spend over $1 billion a year protecting their snitches. They give you a new social security number. They give you a new residence. They put money in your pocket. You ain't going to have your industry thing going on no more, but you're going to have a job. You see what I'm saying? The 6ix9ine, he just did something different. He say, I don't care, but all these dudes in jail and the Bloods is not organized anyway. I could go where I please. And that's why he don't need no witness protection program. So why you didn't tell prosecutors that Puff threatened your life and said you will go missing? Especially after everything we heard, the blowing up cars and all of this, and you know what I'm saying? And people gassing saying this witness is not coming and that witness is not coming. You would think you would say that so you could get some protection. But she didn't. Right? Okay. Why didn't you tell the prosecutors that? This is the defense. They're asking her. Why you didn't tell the prosecutors that what Puffy said that you will go missing and you took it as a death threat? Dawn, that's not my recollection. She just said this last week on the stand. Now it's not my recollection. Y'all all right out there? Now, excuse me. Now that's 5 lies. 5 lies. Prosecution team. Why I keep saying prosecution team? The defense. Oh, I know why, because I got something written down here. It looks like prosecution team. March 18, 2025. You met with the feds again. I'm going to show you a document to help you refresh your memory. Now they're bringing a civil case out. You see how cocky this woman is? I'm going to give you the benefit of that. You're on your 5th lie, but I'm going to give you the benefit of that. And I'm going to give you the paperwork, which you said that's on there to help you out. This is what the prosecution thing. Lining her up, baby. She don't even see it. Okay, give you to refresh your memory about this meeting. You told everybody Friday. You told everybody today you could die. Do you feel safe here? Was Puff in the room with you and the feds? She keep hitting her with that because they're trying to show that you're not afraid. But yet you saying you're afraid for your life. This is why you're not saying nothing. But yet now you're talking all of a sudden. And by you talking, you're still not telling the feds that you're in fear for your life. That's the first thing you would say if you're in danger for your life. Listen, you want me to snap? You see what Sammy the Bull did? As soon as he told, you got to put me up. You got to put me up. Okay. Dawn said none of y'all was there. The defense. Why didn't you tell the feds when you met with the feds that Puffy told you can die? Dawn, I don't know what they put in those notes. That's the 6th lie. How you don't know what the feds putting in? You the one telling them what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They have to cross-examine you about this. And you said all of this last week, Friday on the stand. You see, I told my wife this. I said, you know one thing about trial? And I was on trial before. They coach the defense and they coach the prosecution team coach their witnesses. And they hit them with, all the questions. They try to be a little stern. But the thing is, you do not never know when you understand, you don't know when the prosecution is coming from. You don't know where the defense coming from. So you're already nervous because you don't know what to expect. And she damn sure didn't expect this. So that was the sixth lie. The defense team. You met with prosecutors March 17th, 2025. You testified about these violent incidents. Celebrities were there, right? Yes, she said. The defense, name some of them. Dawn, oh, I don't recall. Let me give you a document to help you refresh your memory. This is defense. Now, read that and look up at me when you finish. Read that, then look up at me when you finish. The defense. Who are the celebrities that was there? So I guess she's looking, right? Dawn, Usher, Jimmy Iovine, and Neo. You see why when you see on like social media, you see, oh, they mentioned Usher and Justin Bieber name and all these other names. It has nothing to do with the case. It's just talking about people that was there. These are people that's in these Caucasian media outlets that's at the courthouse that's taking bits and pieces just to paint him as a bad man and paint other celebrities as bad people. These people wasn't there. You ain't even hear Dawn yet talk about a freak-out party, did you? You ain't hear her talking about she with a man, Diddy with a man and all that, did you? So who's saying all that? The people that ain't getting no good record deals. But let's go. Prosecution team, read this document. Let me refresh your memory. Please look up at me when, no, excuse me. I went ahead of myself. You said that here, talking about Usher, Jimmy Iovine, and Neo. You said that here. But why you didn't tell federal prosecutors that or on the stand Friday? Lie number 7. The defense. You saw Puff drag Cassie out of the car by her hair onto the grass in front of everybody. Dawn, I don't recall. Defense. Read this document. Let me refresh your memory. And when you're done, look up at me, please. Prosecution team. Mr. Rashard, here we go again. No. Okay, Mr. Rashard, here we go again. This is lie number 8. You met with prosecutors, but you didn't tell them that. But she didn't, but she's saying it now. Dawn, I guess that was a misquote. She didn't say forget, because a lot of people that I've been reading saying, oh, she forgot this and she forgot that. It's nothing little. She made 13 lies. That's something. How's that a misquote? Right? The defense, 2 weeks, May of 2025, 2 weeks ago, May 2025, you met with the feds, the federal prosecutor, but you didn't even bring it up. At a festival, Dawn said Dawn said he saw Diddy punch Cassie in the back of the head. Prosecution team. Ms. Rashard, this is what you testified to? Dawn, yes. Defense, don't you know at a festival where you allege that Puff did this to a camera crew? Hold on. Yeah, did this to a camera crew, was following y'all everywhere y'all went. A camera crew was following you, Puff, Cassie, and Dirty Money the whole day, because that's when they were doing a reality show. Doing the whole day, and there's no footage that Puff attacked Cassie. Lie number 8. Because they showed her the whole time. Even the people that was doing the recording, they was there the whole time. They would have seen it. The cameras would have seen it. People would have been witnesses at that scene for her bringing it up. But we don't hear them, right? Line number 8. All right. Why didn't Cassie say all of this? This is what they're asking her. Why didn't they say all of this? They're not asking it. They're actually saying it out in the open for everybody to really pound her. Why Cassie's not saying all of this? The defense. Sean Combs is a big celebrity. You know he had the biggest names in the early 2000s, right? It's common for celebrities to have bodyguards, right? Tell us about when you first saw Puff with a gun. Dawn. I saw Puffy at Daddy's house and at his house with a gun. The defense. Mr. Shaw, you met with the prosecutor 8 times. You never once did you mention to the federal prosecutors he had a gun. So why are you getting on a stand today saying you saw Puff with a gun? Read this document. Read this document. And look up at me when you finish. On that document, it said, you never said you saw Puff with a gun. Lie number 9. The defense now, let's move on to the drugs. They done poked a hole with the gun because you never put that in the lawsuit. You never said any of that about Cassie. And when you did speak about Cassie, you gave up so many different stories, even on the stand now. We don't know what to believe. So you know what? We can see you're not credible when it comes to that DV situation. So let's move on to the drugs because they charging him with drugs and all of this stuff, right? They saying he's spiking people, he's giving this, he's giving that. So let's talk about it. The defense. Let's move on to the drugs. Y'all all right out there? Y'all all right out there? Hit that like button. Hit that like button. The defense. You ever smoke weed with Puff? Dawn. Yeah. The defense. You ever use any other drugs with Puff? Dawn. No, I pretended to. If Puff, how you pretend to use drugs? I mean, how can you pretend to be high? A person that's high is going to know another person that's high. If I'm on a Molly, I'm going to know that you faked the Molly. You know why? Because Molly's and ecstasy make us talk and make it. You don't have to be horny. You could be with your mans. That don't mean you horny, but you're going to be doing this all day nonstop. You're going to be smoking. You're going to be drinking. You're going to be doing other vices. So you can't pretend. They're going to see this. But she said it. She pretends. So let's give her the credit of the doubt. Although she's on line number 9. Right? Okay. Dawn. No, I pretended to. I pretended to use drugs with Puff, but I only smoked weed with him. Defense. Oh, so you just pretended to get high. Is that your testimony? Dawn. Yeah. Let me give you this document to read. Yo, that's a famous quote. Let me give you this document to read. You met with prosecutors 8 times and you never said you saw Puff use cocaine, weed, ecstasy, Molly, none of that. Why are you now on the stand saying this? Line number 10. The defense. Have you seen One Stop sell drugs to Puffy? Dawn. Yes, I have seen One Stop sell drugs to Puff or his assistant. They gave One Stop money. The defense. Let me give you this document. The defense. You met with the feds and prosecutors 8 times. And yet in your testimony has changed again, Ms. Rashard. This is not line number 11 because it's not in there. You ain't say Puff was using drugs and all of that. Okay. The defense, Ms. Rashard. This morning you said you received death threats. This morning, right? This was actually yesterday. You received death threats, that you felt fearful for your life. People go missing. He threatened you, etc. Mr. Rashard, you left Bad Boy 2011, right? Dawn. Yes. The defense. You said Puff was reaching out to you in 2011, right? Dawn. Yes. The defense. I have a text message. Remember what I said in my last show? It's because you didn't text them for 15 years ago. Don't think them texts is gone. Oh, no, they still got it. I have a text message here where you reached out to Puff several times to get back with the group and put the group back together, Dirty Money, and start working with Puff. And you wanted him to sign you as a solo artist. You FaceTimed him and you kept calling his assistant. So him reaching out to you is vastly different to you reaching out to him. Dawn, oh, that's not my recollection. They got the text and she's saying that's not her recollection. But you had a recollection to say that Puff reached out to you in 2011, but you don't remember you reaching out to him first. Does she sound like? Yeah, that was I believe line number 12. No, lie number 12. Okay. The defense. Why you want to rekindle? Why? Why would you want to rekindle? I mean, you saw Cassie, allegedly, you saw Cassie get hit with a frying pan, attempted to get hit with a frying pan. You saw him punch her all in the face. You saw him kick her. You saw him do all this kind of stuff. You saw him with guns. You saw his security with guns. He threatened your life. He told you would end up missing. He gave you death threats, but yet you still took the initiative to find it in your soul and your mind and your body and heart to reach out to call Puff in 2011 because you wanted to rekindle a music career with him and the group and a solo artist, because I'm assuming nobody wanted to sign. She said she had 100 songs that were released, but I don't even know one of them. Nobody knows one of them. So why would you want to rekindle with a man like that? That's like me going through all that what I was going through with Suge Knight in 1996 and 97 with Snoop and them. And then 3 months later, I'm trying to reach back out to him. He got dudes drinking piss in the room and beating them up. You think I'm trying to get back with Suge Knight? So she's in a more worse position. She talking about death threats and end up missing, but yet you trying to go back and sign with it. Does this make sense to you? Hit that like button, hit that like button. Until you're going to get the truth right here. The truth that set you free. Don't listen to what they saying out there. They don't know what they talking about. Puff. Right now, that case, they don't got nothing on Puff. And Puff is wiping every witness's, cleaning them up. Look. Since you left Bad Boy, and she couldn't answer that too. But all that I said, she couldn't answer that. She just, again, on the stand right now, she's like this. They beating her the hell up with her own lies. Because a lot of people say, oh, Puff people, they just trying to bully people on the stand and make them forget. No, they just putting her lies back in her face for y'all to read and see. That's all. The defense, since you left Bad Boy, you released over 100 songs and none of these songs gave you success like the success you had when you was with Puff. Is this why you was calling Puff so Puff could put the thing back together? She said, I guess. The defense. You hired lawyers. Did you? Dawn, yes. The defense. You filed a civil suit, correct? Dawn, yes. The defense. Why did you do that? Dawn, I want justice. She wants justice, right? The defense. A civil suit gets you money. Do you get money from a civil suit or do you get justice from a civil suit? Dawn, you get money. The defense. A compensation. I rest my case. Again, greed. Greed. You went through all that and you went lying 13 lies because of money. She wasn't going to say that. She was going to take the loss and just be like, you know what? I'm going my way. It is what it is. I fell off. I'm going to move on. But once Cassie did what she did, she figured now that everybody's saying this, because once that happened with that video, it went crazy, right? And she, prior to that video, she put the suit in because she figured she could get money. She figured she could lie too, since everybody's starting putting a lawsuit in. Then the video happened, and she felt, oh, I'm definitely going to talk to the prosecutor. I'm definitely going. All I got to say is he hit me, he squeezed my butt, because everybody's saying the same thing. But what she messed up at is she didn't realize that this was going to become a criminal case later on, and that she would have to remember everything she said. So she tried to dirty him up in court, not knowing that while you dirtying him up in court by all the accusations, they was going to get the civil suit and put it back in your face and say, where all that you claim? So you lied. That's why they got a motion to dismiss a civil case. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't bring that with Jigga. Live Nation is different. You see with Tony Bugsby, they said him and Diddy messed with a 13-year-old girl. You heard that go down in the media for 1 week. The next week, that Monday, Jigga made a statement. By the end of Friday, that lawyer was fired. He couldn't do nothing. He was done. Yo, money brings you the best lawyers, you know? So that was Dawn's testimony. They said when she was done, she flew out of there. She flew out of there. She was like that. She couldn't wait to get the hell up out of there. Because the whole courtroom is looking at her like, they were saying the jurors was like, they were scratching her head. They was like, what the? Because she was all over the place. That's why they said, you're just hearsay. Let me ask you a question. Have you heard Dawn talk about Puffy trying to hit Cassie with a skillet? You ain't heard, you heard anybody else talk about that? You ain't heard nobody talk about that. The only one that probably have something a little bit more credible than Dawn is Carrie Morgan. Well, let's talk about Carrie Morgan. I don't got no really transcripts for her because after I read it, she don't really have too much to say. But here it is with the greed, right? So Carrie Morgan is a Caucasian female. This is the one Cassie said, I think he wanted my friend before me, right? So they was best friends when she was 14 and Cassie was 15. They was up and coming, inspiring models. She wasn't trying to sing at that time, Cassie. She was more into the modeling thing. Of course, they went to high school together. And then as they got a little older, between 19 and 20, they really tried to get into the modeling career. And Cassie, at this time, was trying to do the music thing. Carrie Morgan confirmed that Diddy did come to Cassie's 21st birthday. She said Cassie looked like she was into him. You could tell Puffy was into her. You know, as time went on, you know, they asked her, what did the prosecution team like? Okay, cool. We've seen you doing all that. Well, what are the changes that you started to see afterwards? She was like, you know, Cassie started being on drugs. You know, she started hanging out more. She started partying more. But that's what happens when you're in the industry. Ain't nothing but sex, money, and drugs going on around there. You know what I'm saying? Especially at them parties, unless you want them Shania Twains and you're on the Cowboys and you go into them type of different parties, or you don't party. But if you're around that type of party with Puffy and Jigga and all them dudes that's actually throwing parties and going to parties and having their own parties and mansions, drugs is always around. As a matter of fact, I don't care what party you go to, even a club, drugs is around. You know what I'm saying? So by her being with Diddy, she started to see that change. So she was like, damn, you know, what was going on with they asked her, what's going on with her music career? She was like, I asked Cassie about that. You know, Cassie said that Diddy was taking care. He has everything under control, so forth and so forth. So she said a few times, she said Diddy assaulted her, punch her in the head, punch her in the face, kick her, always assaulting her. You know, she said she's seen this done in LA. She's seen this done in Miami. She's seen this done in New York. They asked her, why you didn't tell nobody? Why you didn't say nothing? She was like, oh, I was in fear for my life, you know. And they asked her, you know, you got womanizers and he was womanizing. He had more than one woman. And she was like, yeah, he was not faithful. You know, he was using her, manipulating her. I mean, she was laying it down, right? She was laying it down. So she also said that that after that incident, right? Well, prior to that incident at the hotel, that Diddy beat her up severely one day, right? And she had pulled it quits. She was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't deal with you. Plus, around this time, he's dealing with Kim Porter, right? He's dealing with this female named Gina. Now, my last show, I thought Gina was Kim. No, Gina is a super top model. I had to look her up. I said, whoa, goddamn. I see why Cassie was a little bit jealous. You know what I'm saying? She is mad. So, Black Sister. So, he had her, he had Kim Porter, he had Cassie, he had another female named Sarah, Tara, and he had Young Miami. Now, you notice none of these females besides Cassie is testifying and saying it's about Diddy. I wonder why is that? Why are we hearing about none of these other females? I know some of y'all might say, yo, he paid them. If you say so, because I'm pretty sure if they saw Cassie got 30 million, they wasn't going to settle for no 100,000. So I don't think so. But hey, I hear you. Maybe it is, right? So she said, because we're going to fast forward a little bit, right? So she said that her and Puff didn't talk for about 2 months. She blocked Puff. He going crazy. He calling everywhere for her. You know what I'm saying? Because this was their thing. This back and forth. That's how relationships go, not sex trafficking. When you argue, you fight, you block everybody. You block them on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes me and my wife get mad and I got blocked. But you know you're going to block because that's the love of your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what she did. You know what I mean? So while she blocked Puff for 2 months, of course, Puff is doing his thing, right? She flies out to I believe it was Jamaica. She flies out to Jamaica, Cassie. She's doing a movie. I don't know the name of the movie, but at this time she's messing with Michael B. Jordan. This is why his name come up. Not in no freak off, but she was freaking off with Michael B. Jordan, right? While she blocked Puff. Eventually, when she came back, this is her friend Carrie Morgan saying, she even said, but she didn't say nothing about Michael B. Jordan, Cassie. Her friend is saying, when she came back, she hooked up with Puff. So she's sleeping with Michael B. Jordan, and she's sleeping with Puff. And she's still doing freakos with Puff, right? So, as I said, one day something happened in the hotel where Puff saw her phone and realized she was texting somebody else. And, you know, he went to hands and feet. The security came up there. He realized there was another guy in the room. He was called for a freak off. You know what I'm saying? Not a party. Pretty much a threesome. That's what they call their freak offs. You understand? Of course, we saw the footage. Puffy guilty as hell with that one. You know, can't shy away from that. And the security, you know, helped her back into the room. She didn't want to stay there. Puff said she ain't going nowhere. Security already told me, yo, listen, if she want to go, she can go. As I said today, that security is a LAPD. The testimony he gave last week is not what he wrote down in the incident report at the hotel, which shows that he's not credible. See, I told you they wiping the floor with these witnesses. He's not charged with that though. Exactly, he's not charged with that. But that's what they're trying to do because they want the females to be biased. Because if you look on social media and you look at what all the women are saying, they're crucifying him for some stuff he's not even charged with. That's like me committing grand auto theft and you charging me with a murder charge. Talking about, but he's violent. He knows when he speed races, he kills people. So you're going to charge me with murder? It don't make no sense. But they ain't got no choice. It's the only thing they could get him in. That's why they didn't give him no bail, because I said she believed that they didn't want him contacting Cassie because they had this love and hate relationship. They was back and forth with each other from 2009 all the way to 2018 and still communicating all the way to 2020. So they already knew she has a weak spot for him. Even when they asked on stand, you still love Puff? While her husband's sitting there, she's got stuck. Imagine how that white man feel. Like, oh, you really still love him. And cheated on him with Puff in 2019 and 2018 while she was still the fiance and married. Still cheated on him. Still was having free calls. We ain't gonna talk about that. So Carrie Morgan, she says, eventually Cassie gets her stuff from the hotel room. She leaves, she takes an Uber, kind of find out she's going to her place because they're in New York. So she's going to her apartment. So she calls Carrie and she tells Carrie everything. And then when Carrie says, I'm going to come to your place, right? She's going to be there for her friend, which I respect. So Carrie drives over there to Cassie's apartment. Meanwhile, Diddy, right? She does a selfie and all that. She got shades, right? The security is on the stand. Like I said, he said he saw Cassie with a purple eye, right? Beat up, bruises all over. Carrie Morgan gets there. She see Cassie. She said Cassie has a black eye. So it went from a purple eye to a black eye, right? She saw her eyes swollen. She's bruises everywhere. Puff comes, right? He was calling her while she was in the Uber like 7 times, telling her, yo, call me back, PLS, please, call me back, call me back. Pimps don't beg hoes to call them if you're talking sex trafficking. Romeo pimps don't beg they side booties to come from. Side booty acting up, guess what? You go hit another side booty. She wasn't a side booty to Puff. This was his love. He loved her. Side booties, you don't go on red carpets. You don't go to expensive. You don't meet Jay-Z's. You don't take pictures. You stay somewhere in a hotel because you're a side piece. Cassie wasn't a side piece. Then she can leave when she wants to go get her own crib. Exactly. She left and she went to her own crib. They be talking about, yo, she was held hostage. She couldn't leave. Yo, because Puffy had everything. Man, brothers come home from jail with nothing and still make it. That's not an excuse. Don't beat me in the head with that crap. Tell that to somebody that don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to her, the Carrie Morgan's testimony. Cassie is home. She drives to Cassie's apartment. Diddy comes with a hanger. He's banging on the door. So they call D-Rock. Yo, D-Rock, yo, call assistant. Yo, you got to come get Puff. He bugging out. Puff like, open the goddamn door. Oh. Eventually, he leaves, right? The cops finally come. She says 3 hours later. Who do you think you're talking to? This is New York City. You call about any dispute, violence. You call about anything that's dealing with some physical harm. Police is on the scene. Me and my wife do a party, and we had to restrain a female. The female called the police. They was there 5 minutes. They had a helicopter and all that. They had a helicopter. They shut the whole party down. They searched the whole party for a DV case. So you trying to tell me you called the police and you said Puffy did all of this and they took 3 hours to come? You want us to be okay? Okay, fine. We'll believe it. We'll believe it. We're gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, right? All right, New York. So the police come. They asked her what happened. She said, you have to talk to her. She pointed at Cassie. Cassie said, I don't want to talk. Allegedly, she got all these bruises and all that, but the police ain't questioning about it. Cassie ain't saying nothing about no police coming to the house and questioning her testimony, but this is what Carrie Morgan is saying. So they don't ask her nothing else about her bruises and whatever harm she did and the broken door and everything, and they decide. They don't make no report according to them, right? Carrie Morgan and Cassie. You can't even say Cassie. Cassie didn't even bring the story up. Carrie Morgan did, her so-called best friend. And they were best friends from 2001 to 2018. We're going to get why they're not friends anymore. So later that day, Cassie finally contacts Puff. That's the same day, later on that night, after the hotel incident, and go meet up with Puff. And then they fly to go to the movie premiere that she had while smashing Michael B. Jordan while she was in Jamaica for 2 months. Come on, man. Talk back to me, man. What's going on, New York? You hearing this? That same day after the hotel situation, she flew with Puff and was on the red carpet. for her movie premiere while she was smashing Michael B. Jordan. You know the brother that do Creed, the black brother? Yeah, yeah. So here it is. She's freaking off Ryan Leslie, freaking off with Puff. Wow, freaking off Ryan Leslie. Remember what I said about Greed? And now she with Michael B. Jordan, but she's still going back to Puff. She's still now. I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan ain't got no money. My brother got paper. He ain't got no Diddy paper, but he ain't got you in the projects. You know what I'm saying? But she loved Puff. That's the whole thing I'm pointing out. She's in love with Puff, and Puff is in love with her. He's chasing her. It's this grown man, y'all say he's manipulating her because he's old. He's chasing after this young girl. He's whipped. Okay. So while they on the movie premiere, she said, "Oh, heaven!" And I said, "Oh, nah, wow, yeah." Man, well, yeah, she at the movie premiere. Go check it up. Go Google it. She got some nice revealing clothes on. She ain't got no bruises. And I know what you're saying. Nah, slugger, they got makeup. They could cover that up. Oh, yeah? Well, why she ain't got no shades on and no black eye? Uh-oh. She don't got no black eye. She not only she don't got no black eye, she don't got no purple eye. Somebody's lying. The security says she had a purple eye. Kerry Morgan says she had a black eye. She gets on the red carpet, there's no black eye or purple eye. Why are these people up there lying? Because they can't get no more money. Now listen to this. So 2018 comes around, right? 2018. And our movie premiere was, I believe, it was 2016. So it's 2018, 2 years later. They was in a hotel. No, they was at I think one of Diddy houses. And him and Kerry Morgan had a misunderstanding where she alleged Diddy took a wooden hanger and beat her upside the head, right? This is what she said. This is what this white woman is saying. I had to say white because us as people of color, we know what white women do to our brothers in the media. And she said this black man that has all this money hit her in the head with a wooden hanger. And she said Cassie told her, don't press charges. Right? She left. She went wherever she wanted to go. I guess it was her own place. Yeah, it was her own apartment. Cassie went there. She said, Kerry Morgan, and allegedly Cassie said, yo, calm down. You blowing this out of proportion. It's not that serious. You going too crazy. And gave her $30,000 and tell her, yo, he said, calm down, be easy. She said she felt disrespected, and that was the end of their relationship. I was waiting to hear the part when she gave the $30,000 back. I ain't hear that part on the stand. I ain't hear that part reading. She ain't give that 30. So she know what she wanted. See what I said about Green? And maybe he did beat in the head with the hanger, but you took that 30,000 because that was more important than your so-called justice that you probably wanted to have him have. I mean, that you want to have now that he's on facing life. You ain't want to do it then, but you want to do it now because you want to sue too. That's what it is. If he go down after my testimony, anybody tell me, I could sue later on. This is what they thinking about. They tell somebody get sued for some sexual stuff, everybody want to start running around and going crazy. Now we got one of the dancers. I'm going to end it on this because tomorrow I'm going to come back with more because you got Cassie mother, she takes a stand, but really she can't really say nothing. She just talks about the incident with the hotel room and how Diddy took her phone, what I was talking about the day before yesterday, how Diddy took her phone, was looking for, and she called her mother. Her mother can't really say anything because she wasn't around. She just knew that, I'm pretty sure she just know that, I was just living a little better through my daughter because Puffy was taking care of her. Puffy paid all her bills, New York and LA, for her apartments. He paid for all her transportation. He paid for all her clothes. He had control of everything. And they were saying, that he was shelving her music and holding her and doing that and doing this. Sis, you had songs with big headliners. He just knew that he was just wasting his investment. You would just be better off this being his side piece. I mean, being his girl. That was it. But Carrie Morgan, she didn't want to press no charges. She wanted that ching ching. So now you got this dude. I believe the name is Dwayne. Oh man, I'm gonna call him the Punisher. We're gonna get to his name tomorrow. I'm gonna bring it up again. So we ended it with him. So the Punisher, he takes a stand. He's one of the, not a dancer. He's one of the well, he is a dancer, but he's also an escort, right? He also has his escort that he was working with called Hulkamania, and he has his own escort called Punisher.com or InPunisher.com something, right? So the first thing they asked him is, are you a prostitute? He said, nah, that's not what we do. Because we talking about sex trafficking now. He said, nah, we not prostitute. This is the prosecution witness. He just messed up that whole damn case. The whole case is just getting messed up. He said, no, I'm not a prostitute. He said, well, how do you do your business? He said, what happens is, it said people will find us through Craigslist, or I work for an independent company and they select the guys because we work for them. It's like commission. And you pay the company, and the company will pay the escorts, and that escort will come to you. Now we talking about him. Maybe other escorts do something different. We talking about him though, because they got him on the stand. This is his cross-examination along with the prosecutors and the defense. Because the defense is not really attacking him because what he's saying is real. And this is the prosecution witness. The witness. That's what he said. He said, I'm not a prostitute. Like I said, he said that I work for an independent company. You call the company, you pick who you want, and you drop the money down, and then you come see. They said, how much you charge? He said, I charge dependent. He said, every half an hour or so, or 45 minutes, I charge about $200. I said, damn, I'm in the wrong business. You know what I'm like, man, I could go longer than that, $200, but this is what he charged, right? And he's a dancer, and he does things on his private time. So he said, when he was called, a female called him. He didn't say a guy. When he got there, he got into the hotel room. It was the Trump Plaza, right? Trump Hotel. He said, when he got there, it was under an alias name. He could tell, I'm assuming under Frank Black or CC, what they normally go by. When he got in the room, he didn't recognize Cassie. You know why? Because nobody really knows her song. She's not a big hit like that. That's why Cassie could walk down the street and I probably wouldn't even recognize her. I probably will now because she's all over social media. But prior to this, I wouldn't even recognize her. I wouldn't. So she was like, okay, I'm about to say pay him. Say he already paid. So she said, what do you do? So he told her, and she said her husband, because he didn't know who he was, he said her husband was just sitting there quiet with a mask on, right? So he got up, puff, and left. So she said, what is it that you do? So she told him, the things that he do. So she's like, okay, now Puff is back in the room. She said, but I want to do something different. He said, all right, like what you want to do? She said, I want us to start rubbing baby oil all over us. Now she high too. So they start doing that, and they start doing a little quick freak off, but something happened along the way that he couldn't really get up. You know what I'm saying? So what he did is he started using Viagra's and Molly's and stuff like that, and started working. He even got a book out. I forgot the name of the book. I'll tell you the name of it, but he talks about them in the book, but he doesn't mention their name. He just say a wealthy couple, right? So anyway, so they asked him, they say, is this That was your first time with them? He said, no. He said, a few times. He said, the second time, this is how I knew it was Diddy. He said, because when I came to the hotel and I entered, because Diddy always covered his face. You know what I'm saying? He don't really say nothing because you don't know his voice. So when he came into the hotel room, Diddy excused himself and went to the bathroom. He said he picked up the remote because right now they was a little bit more comfortable with each other. He picked up the remote. He turned the TV on. For those of you like me, know when you're in a hotel room and you turn the TV on, it always tell you, welcome so-and-so to so-and-so hotel. He saw, welcome Sean Combs. He said, oh, shit, that's Diddy. Now he been hearing all the stories. Now notice what I said about their first meetup. You notice you didn't hear about no gay activity, right? You didn't hear about no bisexual activity, right? Yeah. I know you heard Cassie said she came out after the guy ejaculated on her or inside her. She put her finger on her body or inside her and rubbed it on puff nipples and all that. And y'all say, oh, that's gay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is gay to you, but I know if a man is having sex with a woman and you go right behind him, is that any different? Especially if you're not using protection. Is that any different? I'm just saying. Think about it. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So they asked him, they said, well, the defense team too asked him, because I remember I ain't write everything out. Because this is not too much for me to write out. I needed Dawn stuff to write because I want you to understand her mindset and what she was saying and where she was coming from. So the dancer, they asked him, say, you was falling for her, right? You was in love with her? He said, I won't say that. In my head, I was like, well, what can you gonna say? You shouldn't be feeling anything, period. But you saying you ain't gonna say that. But he was like, nah, I got the like in her, and we used to call each other. Now they was communicating, right? Because Cassie said, I feel so comfortable with you that I can talk to you. So they ended up having sex outside of Diddy, and they was having unprotected sex. Is she an angel or is she a victim in this? I'm trying to figure this shit out. This is what he's saying. He's saying she's calling him. They freaking off. She down with the shits. There was nothing forced. Everyone was consensual. They asked him, even the prosecutor, it was consensual? Yeah, it was consensual. Yeah, it was consensual. She got with Kid Cudi. She was still having freakos with Diddy, with Kid Cudi. She admitted that. Her best friend admitted that, who ain't her best friend no more. And I'm assuming she wasn't best friends with her no more in 2018 because she couldn't get more money. Or she couldn't get the life that Cassie had. And she like, yo, you playing games, man. You're supposed to be looking out for me. She probably don't even come around like that no more because Cassie flying all over the place. I mean, she's Diddy main squeeze. She on the red carpet. She going to Grammy Awards. You don't see no Kerry Morgan there. So she fell away. Like, yo, you living a life and you left me back in the hood with poor white people and black people. Like you just defecated. 30,000 ain't nothing. It ain't nothing, but it's something when you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because when you don't have it, you could take care of a whole lot of stuff that you need. But it don't last long. The point I'm trying to make, it doesn't last long. You know what I'm saying? Especially the life that Kerry probably tasted being around Cassie and Diddy. That ain't nothing to her. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? On the dancer, like I said, they continue to have this. That was one of their main escorts that they call. And he said they call him Punisher because he played basketball a lot. So, he used to punish dudes on the court, not because of his bedroom sex, but he kept the name because that's what they called him. And they kept having all these freakos. It was several other people that did no freak. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the personal assistant tomorrow. We're going to talk about the moms tomorrow, which I said she ain't really talking about nothing. You know, who else? And well, we all know some people gonna take the stand them all, but me personally, I don't think this trial lasted 6 weeks. I really don't. Because I have yet to hear anything that's around sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, extortion, blackmail. People are saying he blackmailed people. He's not even charged for that. Even if he was saying, yo, listen, you do this for me, or I'm gonna put the tape out. I'm gonna put the video out. And you like, oh, I'm gonna do it. You really serious? So why that wasn't a charge? I'm just trying to figure out. You know why? Because everything they done told them, they knew they didn't have a charge to fit it. That's why they keep going off with the assaults and the whippings and the DV. That's all they got. That's all they got. And what? Oh, Puff be carrying guns. Okay, so supposed to say he could just say, yo, that's my bodyguard gun. I'm a celebrity. You seen all these other celebrities getting killed for their jury? He don't even wear, yo, this dude don't even wear real jury no more. On the stand, they said, yo, one of the his assistant, one of the things his assistant said was, he said this. He said, yo, Puff don't even wear real jewelry no more. Everything he got, everything you see right now is zirconia. He said, Puff feel like he done did it all. He don't need to buy no more jewelry. So he wear nothing but fake jewelry and throw it away when it turns. He said, then sometimes he'll test you and test the new people around him. He'll leave the jewelry out on the floor and be like, yo, I lost my diamond ring. And he knows somebody took it and he wait for you to play yourself. And then when you can't realize nobody gonna step up, he tell everybody, yo, you gotta go to a certain location. I'm gonna take you over there. I'm gonna have people send you over there and you're gonna take a lie detector test. I mean, that's a slick motherfucker. I mean, hey, you can't knock it. You around him, he hates. He's a billionaire. He gotta watch who's around him. He's a walking lawsuit, as you can see. And the only one that benefited from that was Cassie. What you notice about them and Cassie? No, it's one thing. What do you notice about them and Cassie? I'm gonna tell you. The difference is Cassie knew when to shut her mouth. Since that incident happened with the lawsuit in the airways, that's the only time you ever heard Cassie's name. Well, you heard it multiple times, but that's what started Cassie's name being more into the media when it comes to that lawsuit. Then you heard Sean settled out with the lawsuit. You ain't hear her take no press conference. You ain't see her on no Vlad TV. You ain't see her on no YouTube contents. You ain't see her on nobody contents making no interviews, not on radio or nothing. She did like this. Because the less she did this, the more she can prepare to strike. Because the more she would have been talking, saying this, saying that, Puff would have peeped it and knew she was coming for that money. He would have knew. Just like all Aubrey and all of them running their mouth on social media, you already letting your enemy know what you're thinking because you're running your mouth. That's why Puff ain't paying. That's why he's trying to dismiss doing lawsuit right now. Because you ran your mouth too much and you're lying. You ain't no threat. But see, Cassie is different. Because that was his main shorty. He knew she know his secrets. And she could have buried him on the stand. She could have changed her whole testimony and said, yeah, he sold me to this dude and they gave him money and I had sex. She still loved him. That's why she didn't do that. She just wanted money. And she got the money. She got 20 from Puff, and then she demanded 10 million from the hotel. She didn't even put in a lawsuit. She just said, yo, remember this and that and this and that, and you lied and you got paid and you this, that, and that. I want my money or I'm blowing it out in the media. They gave her 10 million last week. They settled. Now you can't even settle out. They just agreed. The settling out is when you put in your case into a court. She ain't had to do that. She went and got her lawyer. They made a call, and that was it. So she got 30 million out the whole deal. She deserved it. Well, all the urine she been drinking and all the free call, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever she felt that Diddy did to her, she deserved it. But let's be honest. Guys like that, they don't want to wife women like Cassie. Women don't want to wife dudes, husband up dudes that been around the block with everybody they know and everybody know who they are because of some sort of embarrassment as an image. You know what I'm saying? That's why he settled with Kim Porter. He settled with Young Man. He settled with Gina. He settled with Sarah. He settled with all these other females because they was not willing to do what Cassie was willing to do. That's why Young Man, he texted and cursed out and called her certified freak. So like, you been wanting a baby. Diddy wasn't trying to give her no baby, but everybody else was getting babies. Because she wasn't wifey material to him. She wasn't portraying herself like that. She wasn't respecting herself like that. But she felt after a while, I'm going to do all this because I'm going to be number one. And it blew up in her face. Remember what I said about greed? It brings ruin and destruction. And that's what happened to her life. Now she's sitting there with 30 million with no prenup because she got married broke. He getting ready. He getting ready to line her up. He getting ready to line her up. Yeah, you got 3 kids, but he getting ready to get some alimony. He may line up. She don't even see it coming. She thinks she happy now. It's gonna get worse. And don't let him beat this. Oh my God. Head's gonna roll. Head's gonna roll. You know what I'm saying? Dawn, Rashard, she definitely never getting a record deal ever again in her life. Even if he don't beat it. None of them are. Because ain't no label want to touch you. You're running your mouth. You're running your mouth to about what you saw and what other people's doing. You ain't even just talking about Diddy. You talking about what everybody else do. D-Rock had a gun. This guy had drugs. This guy, they don't want that around. Because they doing it. They don't need nobody trying to get a money grab off of them. So I hope y'all enjoyed tonight. You know, I'm getting ready to slide up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Give me some good cooked food. You know what I'm saying? And just pay for tonight. You know what I mean? So with that being said, bless y'all. Have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later.